It was just another Thursday evening at Cafe Ella, a small, cozy diner tucked in a busy part of downtown. The cafe, known for its homey atmosphere and homemade pies, was buzzing with the usual crowd of regulars. Behind the counter stood Tara, a bright and determined 26-year-old waitress who'd been working there for the past 2 years. She'd been through her share of tough days, long shifts, difficult customers, but she always kept her head high. She had dreams of something bigger, something beyond serving coffee and slicing pies, but for now, she was just trying to make ends meet. It was close to closing time when the door opened with the usual jingle, but this time, it was different. The moment Tara looked up from her register, her heart skipped a beat. Standing in the doorway was none other than Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Yes, that Dwayne Johnson, the Hollywood star, the wrestling legend, and the man whose movies filled the theaters every summer. Her breath caught in her throat. He wasn't the type of person who would just show up at a small diner like this. But he was there, looking just as imposing in person as he did on screen, his charm undeniable as he flashed a warm smile at the room. "Evening," he said, his deep voice filling the room. "I'm starving. Got any of those famous pies left?" Tara could barely contain her excitement. She quickly composed herself and led him to a seat by the window, keeping her voice steady, but her hands shook as she grabbed the menu. "What can I get you, Mr. Johnson?" she asked, trying to sound professional. "I'll take the apple pie, and a cup of your best coffee," he said, his smile warm and genuine. As she walked to the kitchen to place his order, Tara couldn't believe this was happening. But she didn't have time to daydream. This was her job, and she was going to give him the best service she could. The next few minutes went by smoothly. Tara returned with his order, and the two of them exchanged a few pleasantries. Dwayne was surprisingly down to earth, asking her about her life and the cafe. But then, everything shifted in an instant. A commotion at the door caught her attention. A group of rowdy men had just walked in, laughing loudly and making their way to the bar. Tara recognized them as regulars, but tonight, they were different. They were already tipsy, and their loud, brash behavior seemed to annoy everyone around them. One of the men, a tall guy wearing a baseball cap, spotted Dwayne Johnson sitting by the window and immediately shouted, "Hey! Isn't that The Rock?" The group turned their attention toward him, and for a moment, the atmosphere felt tense. Tara kept her distance, but she could see that Dwayne didn't like the attention. He tried to smile it off, but the men kept pushing, loudly calling out his name and joking inappropriately. Tara, noticing the discomfort, couldn't just stand by and watch. She took a deep breath and approached the table. "Excuse me, gentlemen," she said, her voice firm but polite. "Please keep it down. We're trying to maintain a respectful environment here. You're making my guest uncomfortable." The men sneered, and one of them stood up, towering over Tara. "Who do you think you are, telling us what to do? Just a waitress, huh?" Dwayne stood up at the table, his expression darkening. "Hey, that's enough," he said in his gravelly voice, stepping in between Tara and the man. "She's just doing her job. Show some respect." The men, realizing they were outmatched, muttered insults under their breath but eventually backed off. Tara could see Dwayne's eyes soften as he turned back to her. "Thank you," he said quietly, his voice filled with sincerity. "You didn't have to do that, but I'm glad you did." She smiled, still shaking a little. "No problem, Mr. Johnson. Just doing my job." The rest of the night was calm. Dwayne finished his meal and paid the bill, leaving a generous tip. But what happened next would change Tara's life forever. The next morning, Tara arrived at Cafe Ella for her shift, feeling the familiar weight of her apron and the scent of coffee in the air. She had no idea that things were about to spiral out of control. The owner, Mrs. Allen, called her into the back office the moment she walked in. Tara's stomach dropped. She had never been called to the office unless something was wrong. "Tara, we need to talk," Mrs. Allen said, her voice tight with tension. Tara sat down, confused. "What's going on?" "I'm afraid I'm going to have to let you go," Mrs. Allen said, her words like a punch to the gut. "The Rock's little, confrontation last night has caused a lot of unwanted attention. Some of our regulars didn't like how you handled things. Tara couldn't believe what she was hearing. But I was just trying to help. He was being harassed. I know, but we can't afford any bad publicity, Mrs. Allen said, her eyes avoiding Tara's. You should have handled it differently. We're a small business, Tara. I can't risk losing customers. Tara felt her world crashing down. She had done the right thing, but it had cost her her job. As Tara left the cafe, still stunned, her phone buzzed with a notification. It was a message from an unknown number. Hey, Tara, it's Dwayne. Just wanted to check in and make sure you're okay. I heard about what happened, and I'm not happy about it. I've got something I think you'll like. Tara's hands shook as she read the message. She had no idea what Dwayne could possibly mean. Before she could respond, the phone buzzed again, this time with an email notification. She opened it, her eyes widening as she read. Tara, I was so impressed with how you handled the situation last night that I've already talked to my team. I'm offering you an internship at my production company. I want you to have a shot at something bigger. Let's turn this setback into an opportunity. Let me know if you're interested. Dwayne Johnson. Tara couldn't believe it. This was the shock of a lifetime. She had just lost her job, but now she was being offered an opportunity she had never dreamed of. Over the next few months, Tara's life changed dramatically. The internship with Dwayne's production company opened doors she hadn't thought possible. She worked hard, learning the ins and outs of the entertainment industry, and soon, her name was being recognized. But it wasn't just about the job. Tara had found something she never expected, a mentor in Dwayne Johnson, someone who believed in her and saw her potential even when things seemed bleak. One evening, as she sat in a meeting with Dwayne, he looked at her with a proud smile. You've got what it takes, Tara, he said. You were brave enough to do the right thing when no one else would. Now look where you are. Tara smiled, her heart full. It had been a wild ride, but she had come out stronger on the other side. And as for Cafe Ella? Well, they never quite recovered from the fallout, but Tara had long moved on. She wasn't just a waitress anymore. She was someone with a future, one she never could have imagined, all because she chose to stand up for what was right.